Hi there, this is Paul Thompson from Spitfire Audio. Very pleased to be able to show you today the latest addition to our producer portfolio range, which is EVO Grid 2. It's the second instalment of our fabulous EVO Grid strings. A whole new raft of super long string evolutions, chamber string size. It perfectly complements the first installment, or you can have it on its own as a kind of really inspiring compositional tool. Orchestrated again by Ben Foskett and recorded at Airedale, a fantastic vintage craft studio. So I'm going to show you a couple of the things. You can see it's the same layout as before, and we have the same kind of randomize, but you'll notice that we have three different styles in here. So we have what we're calling traditional, episodic and extreme. And I'm going to take you through those now. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail on the actual UI, as that's explained quite in depth in the first EVO Grid YouTube video. So if we start here, you'll see the familiar layout. I'll turn the effects off for now so you're hearing everything kind of really pure and vanilla. And then we have the first EVO, which is the non-vib to vib, and it's a kind of PP sound. So I'll give you a quick blast of this one. So you'll hear it's a very gently evolving sound, and again we have the variation slider here, which can take you fully right is right from the very beginning of the sample, but at fully left is starting in quite a long way into the EVO, and then you've got your dynamics as well there, which gives you an extra dimension of control. So this is one of the most plain and beautiful EVOs. Now, if you want to know what all of these evolutions are from 1 to 48, you can go into the Tutti Patches menu, and this gives you a complete description of all of them in there. So I'm going to go through and just play a few of these now. In fact, I'll leave that open so we can see that. But I'm going to go through and just pick a few. The louder version of what we just heard is sounds like this. So you can hear that's taking you from more of a kind of MP. If the previous one was sticking at pianissimo, this is kind of more of an MP to an MF/F. But again, you've got the dynamic control, and you've also got the variation. So you can hear that you've got a ton of goodness in there. And if we turn the effects on, just to give you a quick blast with the effect. So you can hear there, that's giving a nice kind of spacious sound to proceedings. So let's go back to our standard and let's pick a few which you might find quite nice. So we'll go a consort. So if we use EVO 8, which is this line here, this is a kind of consort articulation, and it takes you from a kind of MP to an espressivo forte, a nice loud, strong espressivo. And that sounds like this. So you can hear there, again, I'm not changing any of the dynamic control, but you do have control over dynamic there as well to be able to shape these EVOs to give you the kind of maximum amount of expression. Obviously, I'm playing this to get the full length of the EVO so that you can hear how it gradually changes from one state to the other. But it's entirely possible to mix this up with a few different kinds of EVO. So and we can do that either by hand, as in the previous one, or we can do that by gambling on traditional and also within the visible area. So let's just have a quick listen to a scattered EVO like this and see what this sounds like. And I'll play the same chord again, just so we've got, consistency of what you're actually hearing. So you hear there's some interesting stuff coming in there. And if we look through the list, you know, some of the stuff from, so the first stuff going up to kind of EVO 8 is all pretty straight. If we take EVO 12, for example, that has a kind of, goes from a normal PP to a major trill PP consordino. So let's have a quick listen to that one as an example. So you get the idea. There's a lot of interesting stuff. There's some stuff going to minor trills. There's a pure tone tasto. That's a lovely sound on a per desk arrangement. So have a quick listen to this. I'll just put the variation up a tiny bit. Lovely sound. So there's lots and lots of interesting stuff in here. You've got stuff to a kind of pulsing trem, which is on 17. Let's have a quick listen to that one. You've got stuff that's going to a kind of more full bow pulse. Let's have a listen to that. And again, we're kind of starting some way in, but we can have a listen right from the beginning. So these are some really cool and beautiful traditional EVOs. Now, if we go into the episodic section, there's some really fabulous stuff in here. So the episodic stuff, we'll start off with this one goes into a kind of harmonic wisp. So we'll have a quick listen to that. So that's some lovely stuff. We've got stuff that goes into a kind of shuddering trem. Let's have a quick listen to that. So there's some really wonderful evocative sound in there. If we go to listen to something slightly more unusual, number 30 is goes to a pont semi trill. So that's gives you that kind of sound. If we go right back to the beginning of the variation. And what I love about this kind of this arrangement and the way that it's been orchestrated and the way that we've recorded it is that you can really hear the individual players, and you can use these to kind of sit behind your usual strings to give you extra kind of pointillistic colours, or you can use them on their own to get a really kind of evocative specific sound. And it's very, very malleable with the with using the dynamic and the variation sliders. So if we have a listen to number 32, this is a Jete molto tasto, just starting kind of sul tasto. So really great stuff, and as you can hear, you can either have the very slowly evolving stuff by having your variation slider right at the right hand side and your dynamics right down the bottom. These are obviously linked as before using CC1, but if you want to, you can unlink them using Learn here, or you can jump straight in and use it as a much kind of harder start sound, which goes straight into the kind of the transition point. So that's a quick listen to some of the episodic stuff. If we go to the third collection in here, these are what we're calling the extreme ones. Now, the first one, 34, is actually quite a good example of how this develops, because it's a sul-tasto trem, quite quiet, going into a sul-pont trem, quite hard. So let's have a quick listen to that. So you can hear a lot of variation available with the dynamics. Let's play around with that and see how we get on. Just a little bit of improvisation. So again, we could put on our effect if we want to kind of smooth over the end of this one, because it's quite an extreme transition. So you can get some really nice sounds out of that. So let's have a look at some of the other stuff. So this is one of my favorites, 37. 37 is a slow bend, a sul-tasto thing, to a kind of wide gliss sul-pont. So let's have a listen to the full transition. So I'm going to start very soft. Lovely sound there. Let's turn off the effect so that you're hearing things pure again. I love the, we've got some great string cross sounds. So if we try out the first one, number 40. And this one is a sul-tasto to a kind of string crossed, damped open string sound. So have a listen to this. So that's a great sound. So that's some good sounds there. What about having a listen to a kind of down bow, a bending down bow pulsing thing? So if we listen to number 45, that sounds like this. So some great stuff in there. If we want to go back, let's have a listen to some jeté addition to that, which would be 46. That sounds like this. So you can hear a really nice slow evolving thing, but if you want to kind of get heavy on it, you really can leap straight in there. So that's a quick look at some of those more extreme ones. Let's have a few randomizations to see how they mix up together. And then let's have a randomization within the episodic and have a quick listen to this. And obviously, as you can see, the notes that you're playing tells you which cells you're playing down this side here. The note centers that are being currently played grey out and darken. So some great stuff in there, really fun and creative to use. And in some ways, although the randomization gives you kind of, if you're really under a deadline or you want to just kind of try and get immediate inspiration for something to give you a little bit of a gold nugget to start off with on something, that's great to use as well. But in some ways, the most fun is kind of working out and rearranging for yourself exactly what you want to happen. And it gives you a huge amount of control because there's lots and lots of different variations in here, especially when you combine with, with the first volume of EVO strings. There's a huge amount of stuff in here that you can really get creative with. As I said, check out in this folder, in the Tutti Patches folder, got a complete list of all of the things, and you can just load them up from there if you want to. There is also a massive section in here of curated stuff, and if I give you a quick look at that's stuff that we've kind of gone through and laid out here to give you a starting point for things. And again, I'm playing everything kind of in the same key sensor, so there's nothing really distracting you from hearing the differences between the sounds. So here's the same kind of vibe again. So that's a lovely sound. We've got harmonic wisps. I'll just play you a couple of these. It sounds like this. Some lovely stuff, some parallel pulses. And then you've got a couple of interesting ones down here, softening solpons. I just leapt in with the mod wheel there, but and of course, how can we not play To Hell and Back? Here we go. So some great stuff in there, lots and lots of fun articulations for you to mess around with, and lots of creativity contained within here. So unlike a lot of aleatoric kind of phrase type effects and things like that, it doesn't stop you actually writing the music you want to write, but just gives you a little bit of extra variation and a little bit of, like those trill whispers coming in and out, gives you just a touch of colour to add some interest here and there. So that is EVO Grid 2. Our second volume of string EVOs. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks very much, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.